Hey, welcome to the channel. It's Jack, the muscle and mobility maker with Stronghold Strength and Conditioning. And today, I'm going to be showing you how to speed up the recovery from that hamstring strain that you just suffered. But before we get into it, make sure you take a moment and hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on future content like this. Every Saturday, I'm putting out videos showing you how to resolve aches and pains, prevent injuries, and overall optimize your performance inside the gym and outside of it in your daily life and routine, and it doesn't get better than that. So take advantage of it. Ready? Let's go ahead and dive into this one. All right, like I said, today I'm gonna be showing you how to recover quicker from that hamstring strain that you just suffered. And this one hits home personally today. I actually just suffered a hamstring strain yesterday playing soccer, so I thought I would make a video on it to help you guys see the process that I'm actually gonna take to help myself recover from this hamstring strain a lot sooner than I would if I didn't do these things. Now, there are a few things that I won't be showing in this video in particular that I'll mention right now. The first thing that I'm really going to prioritize over the next couple days is making sure that I am getting a little bit more sleep overall. Sleep is very important for recovery of our soft tissues. That's when our satellite cells are most active, and those are responsible for actually restructuring those tissues when there is damage. They play a large role in that in recovery process. So I do want to make sure that my sleep is being prioritized over the next span of however long it is as this is going to take me to recover. And then I also am going to prioritize the amount of protein and my nutrition overall, making sure that, again, not that that isn't prioritized already, but making sure that I am getting maybe a few more calories in. Anytime there's an injury, your calorie requirements actually go up, so we want to make sure that we are getting a few more calories in, and specifically in the form of protein, so that we can go ahead and replace those soft tissues with some high quality protein in the diet as well. So those are some key factors that won't be in this video other than what I just mentioned, and otherwise I'm going to be showing you some of the movement process from how I started last night when I first struggled with the strain itself and suffered it, and then as I'm going, how I'm going to progress a little bit and kind of talk you through that process as well. Ready? Let's go ahead and get into it. All right, the first thing we want to do when we initially suffer that strain is keep ourselves moving a bit. We don't want to let that stiffen up right away. So the best way to do that is start to normalize your regular movements that you should have. Walking is an easy go-to to begin with. Now you want to be on a surface that's level, making sure that you can focus on your stride, rolling heel to toe and pulling yourself through normally, trying to minimize any shifting or gimping or limping that you have in your stride, and just to really pretend that everything's all good at that point, walking as regularly as you can. Next, we want to check in on some of our functional movement patterns. So there, we're going to work on our squat in an assisted fashion. It's going to be a little awkward at first. Your squat does start with a hinge, which is why we want to start there. It's going to have your hamstrings working as synergists. So we want to test out the range of motion with an assisted squat. It might feel a little bit awkward, like you have a ball of tissue or something like that in the back of your leg. Just gradually increase the range of motion as you feel comfortable. Take your time, don't force it. There should never be pain. It might be uncomfortable, but there should never be pain when you're doing it. So work yourself gradually through the range. As you can increase it, take it a little bit deeper as you feel more confident and comfortable in it. Next, you can isolate your hinge movement, again assisted, starting very small, working on pushing the hips back, keeping a slight bend at the knee. This is directly loading the hamstrings, but then focusing on the quads and glutes, extending the hips and the legs as you stand back up each time. Make sure your knees aren't collapsing in toward one another on this small hinge, and again, we're gradually increasing the range of motion that we're able to work in this position. We want to make sure that we can increase load and range gradually each time based off of the comfort level that we have. So it might be a little bit at first, and as you do the reps, you might find that you gain a little bit more range of motion, and just take it where you can, gradually making sure there's no pain, maybe a little discomfort. Next, we're going to take it through a few other positions here. So sitting seiza with your butt to heels with the toes tucked under. This is going to be a little bit easier to start than full seiza with the toes tucked because the range of motion is smaller, so it keeps a little less pressure on the hamstrings. What you'll notice again is that ball type feeling likely in the back of the leg. What you want to do is just get yourself feeling a little bit more comfortable taking pressure on those tissues in that position. So assist yourself with your hands as needed there and take your time increasing the range of motion once again. If you feel like you could go a little bit deeper into the full seiza here, go ahead and work there and restore that range of motion. Now, if you didn't have this range of motion to begin with, this is a good one to make sure that you are opening up overall for your leg and knee health, but you can also use a pillow beneath your butt, between your ankles and your butt, to give you a little bit of assist, or something to prop a little bit there and take some of that pressure off in the beginning if you need. Next, I do want to check internal and external rotation of the hip in combination here with that bend of the knee. Once again, this is because the hamstrings insert on both the medial and lateral portion of the knee. Now, depending on which hamstring you strained, it might affect more medial or it might affect more lateral. Mine in particular was biceps femoris, so I'm feeling a little bit more tenderness and pressure on that lateral portion of the knee. And again, just getting the knee more comfortable with that range of motion and letting it take on a little bit of pressure in that position, making it more normalized. From here, you're gonna lie back and take yourself to a fully laid down position here, and we're gonna add a little bit of load and test that out. So here I'm actually keeping my legs straight. I want to drive my heels down into the ground. I'm flexing my butt, and I'm actually trying to lift my butt a little bit off the floor. So I want to think tight quads, tight glutes, and this is gonna load those hamstrings gradually. And we're making sure that we're doing it with both legs here. We can also do it bent if we need to bring that back some, okay? So a glute bridge with the heels down into the floor rather than a flat foot. And the further you walk it out, it's gonna be a little bit more challenging on those hamstrings, so just know that. And again, work where you're able to in that position. Now, this one was the most challenging for me personally, bending and straightening the leg here. This is something that has gradually increased over time. You can see me actually assisting my lower leg into the extension. I'm trying to be very careful about the range of motion here at this point in time. But again, it's always about the level of comfort, making sure that you're not pushing it too far and taking it beyond where we can handle. So bending. The big thing here is going to be recruiting my quadriceps again eventually at that full length. It's a hard thing to do because your body down regulates that so that you don't overdo it. And here you got to start to rework that control over the quads as they lengthen the hamstrings. Next, we're unleashing what I call my secret weapon here for soft tissues. This is mobility floss. If you've never heard of it before, you can get it from Rogue, called Voodoo Floss, for 25 bucks. It's a nice cheap tool, but it's really effective for soft tissue issues. So here I have all my tender points wrapped up with the floss. These are actually two bands on the same leg here. You can kind of see the space between the two. And I just want to take it through some basic movement. One, we're restricting blood flow to the area to begin with, but as we release that band, it's going to have a big reperfusion effect, which will actually draw in some new nutrients to those tissues and help them grow stronger overall. And the other part that we're actually doing with that is a little bit of self-myofascial release to make sure that all the tissues are gliding the way that they should under the compression of those tissues, or the wraps, I should say. So the wraps are helping kind of twofold here to help with the blood flow restriction, but also with the self-myofascial release to restore the normal gliding function. And all I'm doing is total extension of the knee and then a deep flexion of the knee to pull those tissues through the compression, and then I will release it. Usually it'll be about 5 minutes tops that you're gonna have that band on. I also want to take it through some of the more challenging movements and positions because it can actually help assist in those positions. Here you can see I'm not getting much range at all compared to what I might normally, but the floss is going to help me restore those movements. So if there's particularly challenging movements, those are good ones to add in while you have the floss on and take advantage of that blood flow restriction and compression while you're working. And lastly, I want to start to lightly load my tissues again. So here I'm only using 20 pounds. I started with 15 pounds last night as I first had the injury. And now we're working that hinge pattern with an RDL. I like the RDL because we start from the top and work our way down. Again, this allows us to control the range of motion that we're actually working through and start to gradually build it. You'll see with each rep that I'm able to maybe get a little bit deeper, focusing on, again, hip hinging back, restoring that hinge pattern, and being able to load those tissues through a more full range of motion as I work. Now, I want to make sure my knees do not collapse, that I have a good solid base at my feet there. And again, never going to a point of pain, only a slight discomfort, maybe a little bit of a stretch. So you might have a smaller range of motion to start depending on the severity of your strain, but gradually build it up as your body allows as you continue to move through. And then you can start to add in more strength exercises, but I recommend definitely the RDL to start, and then you can start to isolate those tissues a little bit more as they feel a bit more normalized through your process of recovery. Hopefully you found this helpful, and I hope it gives you the guidance that you need as you're recovering here. All right, and there you have it, how you can speed up your hamstring recovery and what I'll personally be doing to help speed up my recovery as well. If you like this video, make sure you let me know by clicking that big thumbs up down below, and take a moment to share this one with a friend. If there's somebody who struggles with hamstring injuries, pass it their way so that they have a systematic recovery approach that they can use when that does occur. And overall, just share it so that if they are currently struggling with one, they can have that process as well. Now, if you're somebody who struggles with recurring training aches or injuries, or you've got a history of injuries that's keeping you from training the way that you really want to, and you're ready to resolve that, what I want you to do right now is drop down below in the description to fill out a coaching application and schedule a mobility blueprint call. This is our opportunity to get on a Zoom call together so that I can take you through an assessment, see where your mobility limitations currently are, and get to the root of your problem, and tailor a program specific to your needs so that we can guide you out of those issues and make sure that you're able to continue onward, improving from there. If that sounds good to you, take a moment, schedule that call, fill out that application, and we'll get you moving in the right direction. Last but not least, if you have not already, make sure you take a moment and hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on future content like this. Every Saturday, I'm putting out videos showing you how to resolve aches and pains, prevent injuries, and overall optimize your performance inside the gym and outside of it in your daily life and routine. And it does not get better than that. Welcome to the Stronghold Army. We'll see you next week.